Hello students, today is December 7th. It's Monday, December 7th, and these are our slides for today. Now on the very first one, you're going to be required to do retrieval practice. Okay, so what I want you to do is to go ahead and you're going to complete that before your actual lessons start. So we got the red arrow that's pointing to the retrieval practice link right here. So I want you to go in and click on that, and that's going to bring up a form for you to complete. Okay, and make sure to put your name in there, first and your last name, who was your teacher, what grade were you in last year, and there are 3 other questions on here for you to complete. So once you complete it, go ahead and submit it. So once you complete it, go ahead and submit that form. So go ahead and pause this video if you're watching. If you're watching and you're not in the classroom with us, pause the video and go ahead and do that retrieval practice form now. Okay, so you've already had an opportunity to complete the retrieval practice, which is very important that you do the retrieval practice every time that it is assigned to you on one of the slides. And that's going to be every so often, at least a couple of times a week. You're going to see that in all different subjects. All right, so today's lesson is lesson 11. We're starting on models of division. So we've done practice with multiplication up until today for the last couple of weeks, and now we're going to be starting with models of division. Our learning target for today, I can explain division using base 10 models as it connects to multiplication. Our essential question for this entire unit remains the same, and we're just continuing to build upon it. Why is it important to approach problems using a variety of strategies? And on our next slide here, we've got a question that says, how are these expressions similar and how are they different? Right here, we've got 25 divided by 5. And right here, we've got 250 divided by 5. At the bottom, 25 times 5. And right here, we've got 5 times 5. So we're going to just pause the video for just a minute. I want you to think about how are these expressions similar and different, and whatever answer that you come up with, go and write them in your math notebook. So you've had an opportunity to look these over and to write down notes answering this question in your notebook. And there's a number of different things that you could have said about it, about how are they similar and how are they different. You'll see that there are 2 division problems here. You've got 25 divided by 5 and 250 divided by 5. And you've got 2 multiplication problems here. And they're all using numbers that are pretty similar, either 25, 250, or 5 are the numbers that are being used in all of these. And you're figuring out, again, division and multiplication for those. Let's go ahead and go to our next slide. So here on this next slide, we've got instructions for you to drag the place value blocks to make a visual model for this problem. And our problem is 25 divided by 5 equals, and we got a blank space here where we're going to try to figure out the answer on that. So when we look at division problems, what we're really saying is, okay, I've got a total of 25, and I want to evenly distribute, have the same number in 5 different circles here. So I've got 5 different circles, which represents this number, and I've got 25 total that I want to be able to distribute evenly. And when I finish, we want to have the same number in each one. And you get a chance to decide whether you're going to use units or rods with these. Just using your prior knowledge for base 10 blocks, I want you to go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to work on dragging and dropping whatever that you think is appropriate in each one to make sure that it's even. Remember, you can't go over 25 in there. You can't go over 25 total. Okay, so When I wanted to distribute the 25 evenly into 5 different circles here, I determined that I could get 5 units in each. So I could get 5 units in each, and when I add all these up, I've got 5 here, plus another 5 is 10, plus another 5 is 15, plus another 5 is 20, plus another 5 is 25. So I've got 25 total here, and I have the same number in each. They have been distributed evenly, and this is going to be my answer. So 5 in each. So go ahead and make any corrections that you need to make to yours. So on our next slide, I've got a question of how are multiplication and division related? How are multiplication and division related? So if we look at 25 divided by 5, that's going to be a division problem, okay? And multiplication and division are what we call inverse operations. They undo each other, or they are opposites of each other. 25 divided by 5, the answer was 5, as we proved on the last slide here. But if we took 5 and we multiplied 5 times 5, we also would get 25. And those are inverse operations of each other. So on our next slide here, we've got some vocabulary that you're going to need to take notes in your notebook on. So go on, if you don't already have your math notebook out, go on and get your math notebook out. And I'm going to want you to write these down in your notebook. 5 times 4 equals 20. That's just an example. And the 5 right here is what we call a factor. Okay, the 4 is a factor. And we studied factors and multiples earlier in the year. So this is kind of like a review for us, factors and multiples. And when you multiply those two, your actual answer is actually called a product. So the answer to a multiplication problem is a product. Okay, so you're going to write down the actual equation here, and I want you to write down the words below it. Factor times factor equal product. And here, this is a division problem. 20 divided by 4 equals 5. And the 20 in this situation is considered a dividend. It's a dividend. It's the number that gets divided in 2. And 4 is a divisor. It's the number that divides into another number. So 4 is considered the divisor. And the answer to a division problem is a quotient. So this answer right here is the quotient. So when you write down this entire equation and write down the words underneath it. So pause this video as you need to and write them in your math notebook so you can be able to refer to them as often as you need to. So on our next slide here, how does this image relate to division? So what I've got 4 plates, 1 plate, 2, 3, and 4 plates. And let's count our cupcakes. And we'll count the ones on the plate first. 1, 2, 3. We're going to keep counting. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I've got 13 cupcakes, and they're being divided onto 4 plates. So 13 cupcakes, I want to divide them onto 4 plates. I want to do it evenly if I can. Okay? So I started out with 3 right here, and I'm just going to drag and drop them. And let's see here. So here's another one. 1, 2, 3. So I got 3 over here, 3 over here. 1, 2, 3 over here. I've got another 3. So I want to try to get 3 on this one here too. We're trying to get it as evenly if I can. So if you look right here, I've got 1 left over. Okay, so if I move this and if I put it on either one of these plates, that means that the plates are now uneven. There's going to be one of them that's different from the rest, and that's not what I want. So when we talk about a division problem, and the division problem here is 13 divided by 4, there's 1 left over. There's one left over that doesn't fit or can't go onto a plate. This one's called a remainder. So this one's called a remainder. All right, so on our next slide, we've got instructions of drag the place value blocks to make a visual model for this problem. And the problem I have is 250 divided by 5. So we want to evenly distribute this 250. We want to divide it up and make sure that we have the same number on each of these, okay? So we want to divide the 250 up evenly using our base 10 blocks. And in the end, we want to make sure we have them distributed evenly, and whatever's inside of these circles, once we distribute these evenly, whatever's inside of one of these is going to be our answer, okay? All right, so I want you to pause the video and take a few minutes to work on this problem to try to drag and drop whatever you feel like needs to go there to distribute it evenly. Okay, so for that same problem, you've already had a chance to work on yours to see if you can get it. And we have to keep in mind that with this 250, now if you try taking the entire flat and putting it up there, you realize that it did not work, and you're not going to have enough. So this is 100 and these are 10. So what you really needed to do was to take, there are 200s in here. So when you take the 200s, because the 2 has a value of 200, and you have to ungroup that 200, and that means that you would have 10 of these would make 100, so 10 of these rods would make 100, and another 10 would make 200. So you would have 20 of the 10s, and you would have another 5 of the 10s. So 25 of these total is what you'd have. So to distribute 25 of these rods evenly, we needed to bring 5 into each. So 5 into each, and this is equivalent to 250. So when you add all these up, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, plus another 50 is 100, plus another 50 is 150, plus another 50, 200, and another 50, 250. So when we distributed it evenly, we have 50 in each, and that's your answer. So 50 in each is the answer to our problem here. In our next slide, we've got 50 times 5 equals 250. And again, going back to our vocabulary from a few slides ago that you took notes on, we know that 50 is a factor, 5 is a factor, and the answer is the product. And right here, 250, this is a division problem. 250 divided by 5 equals 50. 250 is a dividend. 5 is considered the divisor, and 50 is considered the quotient. All right, so we've got some models of division practice that we're going to do next, and you're gonna be able to do them either one or of two ways. I've got the actual problems that are on the slides that are coming up. So the problems are on the slides that are coming up. You can complete them on the slides themselves, or you can actually go to page 61 in your binder and complete them in your binder. Now, if you choose to complete them in your binder on page 61, in order for your teacher to see your work, that means that you would have to take a picture of your work and insert the picture in the slides. And in fact, you can insert your picture right here on top of this donut. Okay, but for those of you who are going to do this, and this is independent work, for those of you who are going to solve the problems on the slides, just go to the next slide, and you're going to be moving the base 10 blocks just like we practiced already. You're going to use the base 10 blocks to model and to solve this particular problem. And you got 44 divided by 4 on the first one here. And same instructions for the second one, 60 divided by 5. And you're moving the base 10 blocks over to represent this. So you've got 60 and you got 5 circles. So you want to distribute 60 evenly. So every circle should have the same number. On our third one, same instructions, 78 divided by 3. So you're using the base 10 blocks just to drag and drop however you think that you need to. Now, sometimes you may have to ungroup, okay? But you're trying to get to distribute them evenly. They have to be even. If there's something left over, that means that it's a remainder. You leave it on the outside. And our fourth problem, same instructions, 186 divided by 6. 186 divided by 6. Same instructions again. And number 5, same directions, use base 10 blocks to model and solve this problem. 238 divided by 7. And you're just moving the base 10 blocks inside of the circles. You're distributing that 238 evenly into these 7 circles. So we're going to pause the video and give you a chance to work on these guys, and I will come back and show you number 1, the answer to number 1. But I want you to work on them first. All right, so on the you've had an opportunity to work on all those problems, and I'm going to show you the first one. So this was actually the first one, 44 divided by 4. And if you look, you're distributing 44 evenly into 4 different circles here. So what is 44 made of? What's the value of the 4? The first 4, the value is 4 tens. So I basically just took 4 rods, put one right here, one right here, one right here, and one right here. And I have 4 ones. So I took the units and put 1 in each. So now I have it distributed evenly. 11. So this value is 10. This value is 1. So 10 plus 1 is 11. So I have a value of 11 in each of these circles. And looking at one of them, this is my answer because they're even. So the answer is 11 there. And that's your first one for you. And remember, you're working on the rest of those independently. Okay, so your other independent work is on the next slide. And it is model, solve, explain, homework. Now this is the same as page number 83. I've got the problems are actually on this slide right here. So you can complete them on the slides, or if you completed it on page number 83, if you did your work on page 83, you would take a picture of your work and you would insert that picture on this page. But if you're doing them on the slides, this is your first one. So you're dragging the vocabulary underneath each part of the division equation. So you got 178 divided by 8 right here. So you would go over here, you would choose, and you can go back and check your notes in order to get the correct answer for them. And you would just drag whichever one you think is the quotient, and you would just drag that and put it underneath. Divisor, same thing. You would figure out which one is the divisor. You would put it underneath. The dividend, you would just drop and drag it over to wherever you think it should be. Okay? Put it underneath either one of these. And that is the remainder of your independent work. Okay, so on our last slide for the day, just a reminder of your tasks for the day. You completed the previous slides on the slides where you did the work, or if you did it in the actual binder, you completed that and you took a picture of your work and you inserted it in the slide. So make sure you do that before you turn this assignment in. Also, you're required to do 15 minutes of Khan Academy work and also 15 minutes of Dreambox. So you got some division work that has been assigned to you already by your teacher in Khan Academy. I want you to work on that. And again, also 15 minutes of Dreambox. And once you finish all these tasks, then go on and turn the assignment in to your teacher.